This is one of the new apiaries that was set up just before winter. We have to use shade net in our area because in summer we have certain days that go above 40 degrees Celsius, and then when that happens, the bees literally just cluster on the outside of the hives, and there's no foraging happening, no working happening, because they're just fanning inside and creating some space inside so that the brood doesn't overheat. So the shade net makes a huge difference. So we definitely need that, and we are in a fairly high theft area or vandalism area, so that's why we put razor wire around. We find that when we have this, we don't have vandalism issues. So this is just a small apiary. We've got macadamias over there, and on that side more macadamias. Let's go inside and have a look and see how they managed over winter. Okay, this is a colony that was trapped in the plantations. They've been in here for about a year, so they probably have grown significantly. They will probably need some brood work, just some frame, change out some frames that are possibly honey bound. Nice strong colony. You can see a lot of webbing. Possibly left this one a little bit late, but hopefully not too much cross build. See if we can get some frames out, and then just clean up the webbing in between the frames. Harvest some propolis here for baiting. A couple of hive beetles. Otherwise looking good. Okay, I've got a bit of cross build on the end here, preventing this frame coming out. Let's try another one. Okay, so in this case we have quite a bit of cross build. That often happens even if you had foundation in during trapping. If other bees or moths or beetle had eaten your foundation off, then the bees come in and obviously when the swarm arrives, then they just build. However, they don't go according to foundation because there isn't any. So I've got a long knife, seems to work quite well. So you don't want to kill too many bees. You start on the side so that if there is brood here, you don't want to cut through the brood. So on the sides normally we have a bit of honey and pollen. Let's try and cut along this one because this one has the least amount of cross build. Okay, a bit of cross build there. Honey frame, wires broken. We might replace this frame. Let's just put it on the side. Yeah, cross build. The long knife definitely comes in handy when you do have cross build like this. You can see this is basically a solid honey slab, yeah. But it causes your box to be honey bound, and then the queen has very little space to lay. So this box has obviously been left for too long, and we haven't got to it to do the work like we should have. Okay, there's drone brood. Okay, so they've started laying there. Okay, let's see if we can get this one out. As a drone brood we want to remove, does not serve the colony any good. This frame we will be removing. You want to shake your bees off without tearing your comb too much. You can see that one, you've got some drone brood over there and honey over here, but it's because of the cross build, we'll definitely remove it. Okay, and here we have worker brood. Okay, so here we got worker brood, and yes, there's eggs, so we know we have a laying queen. And this drone brood I think we're going to cut out, and we'll just cut off these extra pieces of honeycomb that have been built underneath. Fixing up these cross-built colonies can be a very messy business. You want to get out as much of the honey on the floorboard as possible so that you don't have your bees all sticking to the bottom, but they do clean it up. A couple of hours and they've cleaned up the mess. So here we can cut out this drone brood. And save the worker brood. Drone brood, chuck it away. The problem is with these, you get honey all over your gloves and it's a very messy experience. But it needs to be done. The bees will just carry on building and recolonize that part of the frame. I like to just mark the brood frames. That way there's no confusion later and I know where to add my clean frames on the sides. So let's see what the next one looks like. Oh, we've got some even worse crossboard here. Okay, so here's basically 2 combs on 1 frame, all brood, or mostly brood. So this we'll have to leave as is. What we could do is cut one off and put it on a new frame. Okay, now I need to choose. This one's already shearing off, so we'll take this one. Okay, so you can see all that brood there. Now we just want to clean this frame up as much as possible. Try not to let the comb fall off. We'll strap it on with elastics as well just to make sure it doesn't fall off. We'll trim this piece of honey off. We don't want that. Create as much space as possible basically. Okay, that one is fine now. That one can go back in. Very difficult to write on these frames when they're full of honey. This is, becomes a big mess, but make it work. There's another brood. So we're going to cut this honey off the side here. If you don't want that additional honeycomb, there's more than enough honey in the box and more than enough nectar in the environment at the moment. All those macs are starting to flower now. So there'll be a lot of pollen and nectar available in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, lots of young larvae, eggs. That's good. So they'll join that on there. Okay, so that's also brood. So it'll be much easier for them to build once they have open frames available to them. More brood and more drone brood. So the drone brood, a bit of honey. So we want to get the honey off, obviously, as quickly as possible so it doesn't drip all over the place. Shake the bees off. Alright, drone brood, discard. Any larvae that fall in there, the bees either just drag them out or they actually, I've seen them eat them. Frame's a lot cleaner now. Trying to move the bees out of the way so when you put the frames back, don't squash too many of them. So that's another brood. So we've got 4 broods so far. Pretty good, considering this what pretty honey-bound box, but they seem to have. Queen has kept on laying. She didn't stop, so give them opportunity to fill all the cells with nectar, which is great. Here's another brood. The last of the frames of brood in, the rest have got honey in. For those we must change out a lot of. So this is a very messy service, but you have these when you have enough hives and you're using very little foundation. If you can afford to use full sheets of foundation and it's not a hot climate where the foundation melts and warps, then use it. But when we're servicing thousands of hives, it's a little bit difficult to see on camera, but in between the cap brood, all of this is newly laid eggs. So that is the last of the brood. So we've got 5 brood frames, which is excellent. Very good. The only problem is in an apiary setting like this, if you take too much time and there's too much honey, you end up having robbing because of all the bees next so close. Oh, this is just honey. Gotta get it off. Right, let's get these frames out quickly now. Last frame. And then we can put in clean frames. The wire's broken. Very, very messy service. Quite a lot of nice honey on there, so that that we can extract. Let's get the brush, brush these bees off, so I can see what's going on the sidewalls. They've even built combs to the sidewall. So these bees need a super, but at least we've created room for them, for the queen to lay, and for them to be able to build some more during the pollination season. But we will be back in a few days with supers. We'll push these over. Oh, this one needs an elastic. So we'll just put an elastic just to keep that thing from flapping around, possibly collapsing. And now we can start adding the newer frames. So here's some clean frames. See, just a foundation strip on there, but they're going to build on these immediately because they need space. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames of brood, and we will be adding 2 empty frames each side. We'll be adding 2 empty frames each side of the brood because it's a 9-frame brood box. The reason why we make 9-frame brood boxes is because one sheet of shutter ply can make exactly 3 9-frame boxes. So we have very little waste. That's why we make 9-frame boxes, and they work perfectly well for pollination. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, good. We push them a little bit off the side walls so that it's easy to remove the outer frame next time. Take these back for extraction. You want to get this box closed up as quickly as possible before robbing starts. Fortunately, we do have a recess so we don't squash our bees between our lid and our top bars. That's how we build our hives. See, look at all that propolis we can use for baiting. Mix of wax, beeswax and propolis. This is what we use to bait and trap all of our swarms, as you've seen on other videos. But this is where you get it, well, where we get 90% of it. This is it. And clean it. It's not like you're doing the bees an injustice. You're creating a bit of space for them, and your lid goes on cleanly. And you squash less bees as well. You don't have this massive. Okay, so that's what we use for baiting. Right. Okay, so for documenting, we find it's easy just to. Today's the 16th of August 2024. We abbreviate because there's a lot of hives to work through. It's a strong colony. There was a laying queen. Frame changes, we did 4, and we removed drone brood removed. So put in whatever you feel works well for you, as long as you can remember and make out what you did previously. So that's a very, very messy hive service, but very necessary. All that honey that was taking up all that space, we're giving them some more place to lay now, and they'll need a bit of time to clean up here. So this one was left a bit long, but yeah, if you sit in the situation, it's more or less what you need to do. I hope you guys found this video useful. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Cheers.